friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today's preservation or skills project is going to be trying to make cheese. Now I got this rennet tablets that I've had for eons, and this animal rennet that I got if you like a couple of years back. I don't even know how long ago it was. When I waxed cheese, I got this animal rennet and I got this cheese press. This cheese mold. It's not the press, it's actually just the mold. And I got some milk from the store, obviously, and I got an extra one. I've been making my own yogurt, so I got an extra one to try and make cheese. So we're gonna try and make cheese today and see how it goes. This is how bad it's gotten. I even forgot I had this stuff. This is a cheese spoon or whatever that I got at the same time when I got my wax, and a cheese thermometer. Yeah, so those should come in handy. And if all else fails, I've got some lemon juice because I don't want to waste this milk because I want to use it to try and make cheese. So we're gonna see. I'm probably gonna use this first, and if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna move on. I only have this half gallon to make cheese with, so I looked at the instructions on here. It's a half a teaspoon for 2 gallons, so I only have half a gallon, so half of that would be I think it's 1/8 of a teaspoon. Yeah, if I'm correct. I'll double check before I actually do that. And I only have, this is the smallest. Can you see that? Yeah. This is the smallest. It is 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I need half that amount if I'm correct. So I'm going to double check that before I even start. So I double checked my additions or my subtractions or my fractions or whatever the case may be. And 1/8 of a teaspoon is what I'm going to use for my half gallon of milk. So we're just going to start this. We're going to just fly by our seat of our pants. I've looked at a couple of videos. This is not a tutorial by any stretch of the imagination. It's me just trying a new skill, and what's the worst that can happen? I get like ricotta cheese or cottage cheese or something like that. As long as it's some sort of cheese, then we're going to roll with it. Okay, so the first thing I needed to do was improvise my thermometer so it doesn't sit on the bottom of my pot because I'm using a smaller pot, and it was sitting on the bottom obviously, and I had a heck of a time trying to get that clip to go further down, but squeezed it together and it slides down no problem. Yeah, I was trying to wind it in craziness, but yeah, I finally squeezed it together and it moved down beautifully. But yeah, it's not sitting quite at the bottom. As you can see, it's just off the bottom. So they didn't really say how to set this, so I'm thinking you don't want it touching the bottom because you get a false reading. But let's get started with this because I don't know what I'm doing, and you're gonna come along with the journey. So in goes my half gallon of milk, and I want to warm this up. I've seen so many people do so many different things. I'm trying to do a harder cheese, like a cheddar cheese, but it's going to be white cheddar, of course, because I don't have no yellow dye or anything like that. So we're going to get it warmed up, or up to 10. 80s, I'm going to try and give you numbers, but you know what? You want to do your own research because some people say different things. They do it different ways. But I'm going to get it on a low to medium, and we're going to bring it up to 86 degrees. Okay, so while my milk is warming up, I've decided to measure out my water. It's 1/4 cup. I don't know if that's focusing. I'm using bottled water. And you don't add your rennet until you're just before you're ready to add it into the milk. So I'm going to leave that to the side with my measuring spoon. And when I'm ready for it, I'll mix it together and add it directly into my milk. I don't think you can let it sit for more than like 5 minutes or so, but again, you want to do your own research and check. Okay, so my milk came up to temp really quickly, and I'm going to add my rennet into my water. Here is my rennet. It's not a lot, but I'm only got a little bit of milk, so yeah, I don't need a lot. So I'm just mixing it in there, and then I'm going to take it over to my milk. is up to temp, and I had to fashion my janky thermometer because it was going to be in the way when I started mixing the rennet in. So in goes this rennet, and I'm using a 1/4 cup of filtered water, and it would have been in the way when I'm doing this. So I'm just mixing it in, and then I'm going to sit. The stove is off. It is completely off, even though I've still got it on this burner that is now warm. I am going to mix this in, and once I do that, I'm going to put my top on it for 45 minutes and leave it to curdle. I don't know what the technical term of it is, but we're gonna so I've mixed it in for about a minute. Just make sure everything is, and this is where, if I had the thermometer crossways like I had it earlier, and then I tried to do it with the clip further down, and it just didn't want to stay because it was top heavy at that point in time, because this pot is so shallow because I'm doing so little milk, and I didn't want to waste a whole lot of milk. I mean, I could have used more milk, but I didn't want to waste more milk just in case this didn't work out. And so now I'm going to cover it for 45 minutes. Top on, and I've set my timer for 45 minutes. Well, I'm going to set it for 45 minutes. I thought I had. And start it. And we'll come back to it. Hopefully, of course, our fingers that we make curds. I don't know what that. I'm going to look it up. And by the time I come back, I'm going to see if it works. And I'll know what the terminology is. Okay, so it's been 45 minutes. And I'm going to see if I have a clean break. I guess. I don't know. Does it look clean to you? No, it doesn't really. I'm going to leave it for another. It doesn't look clean to me. So I'm going to leave it for about 10 minutes or so. Okay, so you can see I've tried it a couple of different times. And I think I finally got a clean break. Kind of. I'm just going to go for it. So we're going to cut it. Yeah, this might not turn out the way I wanted it to. I'm just going for it. Because I've had it on. Well, I've let it rest for another 20 minutes actually. And this is as close as I can get it. So I'm just going to go for it. This is my first time trying this. So maybe or maybe not. Probably should have waited. But yeah. They look pretty clean to me. I can see. So now that I've cut them, I don't know if you can see that too well, but they are cut. And I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes. And then I'll come back and break up the curds. Curds, yeah, that's the word. And I'll go to the next step. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. And, oops, I'm going to just make sure my curds are cut into smaller pieces. Actually, I can see some are bigger, so I'm going to gently cut those. And make sure they're like 1/2 inch or so they can release the whey. So I spent the last couple of minutes just breaking up the big pieces, well, cutting with the knife, the big pieces of curd. Now I'm going to bring it up to 98 8 degrees and hold it at that temp for the next 45 minutes while stirring it and making sure the curds don't clump together. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. And I'm just going to be just moving it around very gently, making sure they don't stick back together. Okay, so it's been 45 minutes and I did not stand here the whole time and keep it from clumping together. I just came back and forth to it. There was no way I was able to stand here for 45 minutes, but the time has elapsed and I put it in a double boiler with warm water because this is where I had it. My stove cools down quite fast. I think it's like a safety mechanism, and I wasn't able to keep it at 95, so I put it in this double boiler and it kept at 95 with the hot water that I put in there. Well, not steaming hot. I was able to put my hand on the side of it, so it worked out better this way with keeping it over the double boiler than to just keep it on my glass up stove, because literally it cooled down within 5 minutes. It was pretty much cold. So this worked out beautifully, and as you can see, this is what the curds look like. And I did test them a little bit, and they are a lot firmer than they were previously. So I'm gonna get this drained now. So I've got my cheese mold here set up, ready to go. And I couldn't find my cheesecloth, but I found some muslin, and I did wet it. It is damp, and I put it over a sifter. My rice colander is really big, so this I thought would be a better size for this, and I'm putting it over a bowl so I can save that whey. Okay, so here it is all strained out. There's my whey. Got quite a bit of whey, and I'm going to salt it, just putting about a half a teaspoon because I don't have a lot of curds. So I'm just going to mix this in. I did just wash my hands, and I'm just going to mix it in. Distribute that salt around, and then I'm going to put it in my cheese mold, and I'm going to use that same muslin cloth to line my cheese mold with. I guess if I wanted to stop here, it would kind of be like, is that focusing? Cottage cheese. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Yeah, I guess I made cheese, cottage cheese. Let's see if I can make cheddar cheese. So I just put the cloth in there, and I'm gonna just gonna pack the curds down in there. And I don't have a lot. I wish I had a smaller mold because there's not very much of it, but I'm gonna pack all the curds in there and get them packed down tightly. Okay, so I've got it packed in here, and I'm just going to fold it over as flat as I can, trying to pull out any folds or any wrinkles or anything like that, and get it packed in here as best as I can. The best I could do, and I'm going to put the follower in here. Ooh, you can see that? Wow. So I'm going to get a weight on top of here, and I'm going to get something in here, and then a weight obviously won't go down in there because I have round weights. And I'm going to get something in here that brings it up higher, and then I'm going to put that weight on top of there. Okay, so a wide mouth jar fit in there perfectly, and then I'm going to put my weight on top of here, and I'm going to do 10 pounds for 20 minutes for the first time. Okay, so that's what my weights look like, and I'm going to measure it. Okay, so this is what my weights look like, kind of janky. Okay, so this is what my weights look like, kind of janky. Hopefully it stays up for the 20 minutes. And that's 10 pounds of pressure, 10 pounds of 10 pounds. 10 pounds of 10 pounds on top of there for 20 minutes. Okay, so my first weight time is up. I've got to double the weight. And my first weights were very janky, and I have to figure out something else. But you can see the whey that came off of it. I'm going to throw off the whey, take it out, flip it over, and then put weights back on it. 20 pounds of weight for 30 minutes. That's what I'm going to do. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to open it up and flip it over. And yeah. Flip it over and put it back into the mold. Well, the bottom looks nice and smooth, even though the top doesn't. Doing half of it right. So I've had to improvise once again for the second weights, and as I go heavier and heavier, they're getting more sketchy. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this 35 pounds because, yeah, I don't know. And this is how much weight came out the second time. The 20 pounds for an hour it actually was, and now I have to do 30 pounds overnight. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to work this, but I'm going to try to figure it out, and I'll show you what I come up with. I am going to drain the whey off. I've actually put the follower on the bottom, and it worked out a bit better. And I am going to flip it over again and put the weights on overnight. So I just wanted to show you how nice it looks actually. And that's the bottom, which was the top, and it's smoothed out. And I don't think I'm going to get that top any smoother than what it is. That was actually the bottom really smooth before, but because I have so much material to cover it over with, it's becoming crinkly again, and I can't do anything about that. So yeah, this is going to be the last time I'm putting it on with the weights overnight. It doesn't get any more sketchier than that. My cheese is down there. It has a couple of weights on it. It has a pot. It's in a 5-gallon bucket. My stainless steel enamel covered crock pot on the top, and then 2 more weights on the top of that. So a total of 36 pounds or so. This was actually 12 pounds or so. So yeah, I hope this works. Oh, it's not gonna fall over. Okay, sure. It's been just at 8 hours. It's the next morning, and I had to improvise so many things to try and get this press to work because it's a lot taller than what my little bit of milk did cheese-wise. I had to use the jar, so many things. But anyway, it worked out in the end, because here it is. This is what it looks like. As you can see, I got it nice and flat around the sides. There's a couple of little things here and there, but not too many. And it's quite firm. I'm shocked. And I'm going to use a cookie sheet, cooling rack, and this wicker. It's what you put in paper plates if you have like those flimsy paper plates. That's all I can find. I don't have any bamboo mats or anything like that, is what she used. I'm pretty much following the instructions from the Humble Servant's Homestead. That's what she did, the lady on there. And she was really detailed. I found some other ones, and I did a few of their tricks as well, the double boiler, that sort of thing, to keep the water warm. But I'm pretty much following how she did it. And we're gonna let it sit on here, air dry for 2 days. I have this cloth. It's clean. It's actually I haven't used it, so I did wash it, and it is dry now. And I don't know why I wash all my new stuff before I use them the first time. But anyway, that's not what the point is. But anyway, I'm going to cover it with this and let it sit on my counter for 2 days. And that's going to be the difficult part, because I don't have a whole lot of counter space. So this could be, I could be moving it around. I want to find a place to just put it and just leave it if I can. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to pick it up. Let's see if I can pick it up one-handed. Nope, it's sticking. Okay, so give me 2 seconds. So this is what it looks like on the other side. It is quite firm, and I'm so happy I made cheese. Well, we'll see how it tastes. But yeah, there it is. Yeah, I'm going to put it here, put it there, and I'm just going to cover it, and we'll see how this goes. It's gonna be 2 days, so I'll come back and I'll shrink wrap it, and I have a nice place that is really cool that hopefully it will cure no problem. So here it is, the results of my cheese making adventure, and I did write on it and the date I did it. So I'm gonna let it cure for at least 60 days, maybe 90 days, depending on if I remember or not. I have a nice cool place downstairs that I can put it out of the way. I actually vacuum sealed it it was like a day and a half. It wasn't 2 full days, but I noticed around the edge, I don't know if you can notice since it's been vacuum sealed, but it looks like it was drying out around the edges. It's still soft, and I'm hoping it is going to be okay, but it started to dry out. It started to get a little dark. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or what, but it did, so I just went ahead and shrink wrapped it, and I'm going to put it away. And we'll have results in about 2 to 3 months. So, cheese update. I don't know what I did wrong, but it was in a nice cool place. And I put it in the top's plastic, but the bottom is glass. Just in case, like a fail-safe sort of thing, just in case. You can't see it. I'm going to open it up. But I just went down in my cool room, which is quite cool. Even though it's like 90 degrees outside, literally it's 83. Feels like 90. But I did this on May 29th, and today is June 2nd. And look at that. Can you see that? That is, yeah. I'm gonna cut this open and let it air dry a couple more days. Maybe I didn't let it air dry long enough, but some gas or something is building up in there, and I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to cut this plastic off of it and let it air dry for another couple of days. So I did actually check the cheese to make sure no mold or anything was growing on it. It was quite moist. I actually just used some paper towels to blot it dry. And I'm going to sit it out here on this wicker plate protector or whatever it is. And I'm just going to let it sit for a couple of days. Hopefully it air dries properly this time. I wish I would have checked this yesterday or maybe a couple of days ago, but it's only been a couple of days since I put it out, and I wasn't going to check it for at least a week or two before I looked at it. So I was going to leave it and let it sit for at least a week and then check it. I wish I would have checked it sooner, because yesterday I did this. Yeah, 2.5 gallons of milk, because these were actually on sale for $1.39 with a clip coupon, and I could do it 5 times. So I thought I would take 2 gallons and make cheese out of it, and then take half a gallon and make my yogurt, because we're out of yogurt again. And I needed wipes. That's why I went in Kroger's. I needed wipes. I needed baby wipes. So I got the wipes, and then I saw on my app that the milk was $1.39 with a coupon that I could use 5 times. So I was like, why not? And then I'll use make cheese, because it was so easy. Not really. It was time consuming. It was relatively easy, but time consuming. But had I known this craziness was going on with this one, I might not have bought 2 gallons of milk to try and make cheese again. That I'm not sure what's going on. So yeah, and I have no freezer space to put this in the freezer where I can make yogurt out of it, because I know how to make yogurt out of this. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and make cheese out of it, and hopefully, cross my fingers, it doesn't do what this one was doing. So we'll see. I'm not gonna bore you with this process, but I'm gonna attempt to make cheese again. Now I've got 2 gallons of milk. I've got a bigger pot. I've got my thermometer going. It's not quite touching the bottom, so hopefully this will work. I still have to rig it a little bit, but not as much as the last time. But we'll see how this goes. I'll show you the finished product when I go to put it in the press, or just when it comes out of the press tomorrow morning. And it's going to be the same thing, just more milk this time. So, as you can see, it's almost full, and I've already hit my first snag, because this is only 1.5 gallons in here. I still have another half gallon to put in, and obviously not enough room in this. So I've got my big stock pot out, and it actually fits the thermometer better. It's sitting in there nicely, as you can see. So I'm going to get the milk, the rest of the milk, and all of the milk into here. So in goes my last half gallon, and you can definitely tell this is amateur hour because I have never tried to or attempted to make this much cheese before, ever. So it's in. I have enough room, obviously, because the pot's really big. This is like my water bath counter, well, water bath stock pot, and that's what I've used it for in the past, and that's the only thing I've ever used this for. And actually, I think I can my pie filling in this in the quarts. So we're gonna get this started and get to making cheese. So since my stove cools down so fast, I put it in a water bath last time, but this is my biggest pot, so I'm put it down in my sink with some lukewarm water, and hopefully it will stay to temp while it's doing its thing for the 45 minutes, so I can cut it into curds. So this is what the cheese, the fresh cheese I made, end up looking like. I dried it for several more days, almost 2 weeks. Yeah, because in the middle wasn't drying properly. So it's actually been 10 days sitting on my counter to dry in the middle. And I don't know what I'm going to do with these 2 pounds that I'm actually trying to make cheese. What I think I will do is use half of it as cottage cheese. That's what I actually tasted some of this curd before, and it was good. It almost tastes, it was like cottage cheese. So I think I'll use some of that for cottage cheese and get as much into that press, because that's the only one I have, or that mold I should say, it's not a press, and see how it goes. So it's actually June 11th that I'm putting this up. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that this doesn't have the same problem it did when I first put it up. So I put it into the same container, and I'm gonna put it down in my cold room that stays nice and chilled even all hot summer long. Okay, so here's take 2 on this cheese. Just took it out of my makeshift press, and well, it's nice. And I think what I'm gonna do is cut it in half, like this way, because the last time I went to dry this, well, that one that was the first one I made, like half this size, oops, this is why you want it to be as smooth as possible and not have the creases in it, because it pulls. But try to be gentle here. It took a long time to dry, so I'm going to actually cut this in half, and this seems a lot drier, like it pressed a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna try to be gentle and not rip this. It's a lot drier than that other one was, so maybe it won't take as long to dry, but we're gonna see. There it is. So yeah, I'm actually gonna cut it at least in half, maybe even in 3, and then dry it. And I just want to show you what I'm calling cottage cheese. I don't know whether it's cottage cheese or not. It's cottage cheese for me. And this was the curds before I started to press them into that. And I've used these on a couple of crackers and some eggs, and that's what we're going to be using them for. And they taste just like cottage cheese to me. So yeah, I have I think this is like 2 cups, I think. And that's how much I used. It was a bit fuller, so I've used a bit out of here. So this isn't quite the full 2 pounds that's supposed to make. Okay, so I did cut them into 3 sections, and I think they're gonna dry a little bit better than this way than one big chunk. So I'm gonna put these on that wicker plate holder, and I'm gonna let them air dry until I see that mostly the middle is dry. Like the other one took about 10 days to dry, and I'm gonna do that one, these ones, the same way. So I'm happy with the results so far. Okay, so there they are. I'm gonna just cover them with a tea towel to let them air dry. And the third one I did put back in the press. It actually started to crumble when I cut it. I cut it kind of thin. But anyway, if it doesn't go back together, I'm not worried about it. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna age these for at least 60 days. And no, I'm going to age these for 90 days. And the other one that was smaller than these, I'm going to age for 60 days and taste it. And I'll bring you back for the results when they age to their specific times. So this went very wrong very fast. Apparently, yeah, I'm going to chalk it up to it having so many divots and holes and things, everything, that it actually started to grow mold after the third day of me sitting it and just letting it air dry. So I looked up other ways to dry cheese. One suggested the oven on a low temp, and it's like blazing hot. Yesterday was 83 degrees here, and that was not happening. So another way suggested my dehydrator, and that's what I did. I actually put it in the dehydrator. It said 6 to 10 hours. I actually put it in for about 8 hours, and I took it out, and this is what I did with it. I wrapped it up, and I put it in the freezer, and I'm going to use it from the freezer. As you can see, it's quite dark. It's quite yellow. I am going to let it age. Whether it ages in the freezer or not, I don't know. But I'm going to still use it. I'll use it in macaroni and cheese, something where it will melt and you won't even notice it. I'm not going to necessarily use it to grate on top of say, I don't know, eggs or something like that, because I don't think it will grate very well or melt very well in that sort of application. So I'm gonna just keep on with it. I mean, the first one was great, but I want to try and make a bigger batch of cheese. And I did cut these in half when I went to put them in the dehydrator, because I thought they would dry out a lot faster than a whole wheel of, round of cheese. That's why they've been cut through the middle. But as you can see, they didn't, that last piece that I put into the press, and it still didn't come out that good. So this is my second experiment. I'm not finished. I am going to continue with my cheese making, and hopefully I can perfect this. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. God bless, and remember, stay safe and keep prepping.